Welcome to Maximize Your Monday. And this week's quote comes from, let's see, Mother Teresa. So Mother Teresa is this week's quote. Be faithful in small things because it is in them that your strength lies. I'm going to repeat that. Be faithful in small things because it is in them your strength lies. Now, if we break that down piece by piece, be faithful in small things. Even the insignificant actions that you think are insignificant because it's so small, hold so much value, can contribute to a way bigger picture. It can contribute to your overall dream, your goal, your success, your fulfillment. But yet, because it's so small, the small things that we hold faith in, we sometimes forget that they can turn into something way bigger. And then it continues, the quote says, because it is in them that your strength lies. Now, if you really look into that, it's almost like it's a secret, like it's hidden inside them. It lies within those small things. They look small, but our strength, our big strength lies in those small things. This hidden power and this hidden potential found in those small things. Now, for me, when I read that quote, and especially because it's coming from someone like Mother Teresa, for me, that quote is packed. I'm talking about jam-packed with transformative power. It makes me think of how I can transform my life through small tasks, through small habits that can make a big difference. It's not only transformative power, but also regarding, the faithfulness of like being faithful and how significant small actions can turn into a huge impact. Not just a huge impact on, once again, my success, my goals, my fulfillment, but more importantly, how big of a big major impact it can have on the world simply if I'm consistent in those small actions. And it really reminds me of this other quote that I heard long ago when I started getting into personal development is how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're faithful with the small things, how do you do the simple things? How do you do the things that might seem insignificant to you? How do you do them? Are you doing them with your absolute excellence? Are you giving it your all? Are you really getting focused? Are you preparing? Like every Monday, I don't just jump on live. I prepare. I look over the quote. I think about what I want to say. I think about what the quote means to me. What maybe the author of the quote was thinking about. How can this relate to life? So once again, how you do anything is how you do everything. So when you're showing up, you want to show up with an attitude of greatness, an attitude of excellence. Because remember, the small things can make a significant difference. And once again, we think because they're small, they're insignificant, but you'll be surprised when you compound them over time, how significant of a difference it can make in your life. Speaking of compound, I want to give you an example of what it means and what it looks like when you compound habits. And I'm going to use an illustration of a penny. And maybe you heard this example before, but if I told you I had a magic penny, and this magic penny doubled up every single day for 30 days. I said, you can have this penny. Today it's 1 penny. Tomorrow will be 2. The next day will be 4, and then 8, and so forth. You can have this magic penny that's going to compound over 30 days and stop, or $1 million right now. Now, if you've never heard that story or have never heard the example of the magic compound penny, you might think quick and you might say, you know what? $1 million right away. But would you believe if you do the math, 30 days of a penny duplicating at the end of 30 days is $5 million. If you go to 31 days, it's already $10 million. So think about that real quick. Sometimes we don't realize it, but if you look at it long term and you stay consistent with the small things, if you're faithful with the small things, it contributes to way bigger things. You know what else it contributes to? it contributes to building your character and your, not just your character, but also, what's the word I want to use? We'll go with the character for now. But it builds your character. And it builds your character in the sense that you say to yourself, you know what? I trust myself that because I was faithful with the small stuff, that I was consistent with the small stuff, I was strong with the small stuff. It builds your confidence. I know I talked about this in a previous video, but confidence is trusting in yourself. To confide in yourself. You trust yourself enough to go get it done. So by being faithful in the small things, it builds your character. A great example of this is when Jesus talks about it, and he uses this exact word. I think Mother Teresa, obviously Mother Teresa, she's reading her Bible, right? She's the one that got quoted for this. But in the original context, Jesus pretty much said the same exact thing. If you go look it up, Luke 16:10, Jesus says, he who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. And he who is unjust in least is also unjust with much. And this is the parable of the unjust steward. So what it was talking about was this steward did not take care of what his master left him with, right? So my question to you is, what have you not been a good steward of? Or have you been a good steward with the small things? See, right now, you might be not as wealthy as you want to be. You might not have all the money that you want to have. But my question to you is, are you being a good steward with the money that you do have? Maybe you're saying to yourself, Max, I don't have time. I need more freedom. I need to buy some of my time back, and you're limited with time. My question to you once again is, how are you stewarding your time? Now, this is the biggest one for me, I think, is how are you stewarding your gift? The gift that God put on your heart, that God-given genius, that you know what? I do that pretty good. So good that sometimes you don't even believe it's your gift because you do it with ease. But what you need to realize is there's other people that wish they could do what you do with ease at that caliber. So my question to you is, how are you stewarding your gifts? Are you faithful with your gift now that it's small, that when it develops and becomes bigger and brings you more power, brings you more wealth, brings you more significance, brings you more time, brings you more eyes on you? Are you going to be faithful with it? Are you going to do what's right with it? Now, also, I want you to realize that when you're faithful with small, you start discovering your hidden strengths. The strength that lies in the ability of being faithful in the small things. There's strength in that. There's strength being faithful in the small things, creating those small habits day after day after day. It shows you that you can do anything. Because you know what? If I can focus on that and be faithful with that, create a habit with that, be consistent with that, I can be consistent with other things. When something really big is going to come your way, you're going to be more prepared. I'm going to repeat that. By discovering your hidden strengths within, like what you're good at, but also by learning how to create a consistent habit, that faithfulness, that strength of being consistent and faithful in the small things, when it's time for the big things to come, and you are faithful in the small things, you are faithful with your money. You are a good steward of your money. You're a good steward of your time. You're a good steward of your talents. When the time comes, when it's crunch time, when it's that championship time, when it's that opportunity, when they also say one of my favorite quotes is something, success is when preparation and opportunity meet. So when you're faithful in the small things and the opportunity meets, not because you were faithful in that, you already practiced, you already were habitual with it, you already had habits with it, and now you can go kill it and go make it happen. You were prepared. And because you were prepared and you're consistent and you're dedicated to becoming better and growing in the small steps, now you have an attitude of expecting it. You have expectation. You're expecting expectation in your life. What do I mean by being prepared? Faithful with the small things. Are you being prepared with the small things you have now, with the money you have now, with the time you have now? Are you utilizing your money wisely? Are you utilizing your time wisely? Are you utilizing your gift wisely? Are you growing? Are you dedicated to personal development? Are you reading? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you watching these videos like this? Are you subscribing to channels that help you grow? As you're driving to work, back and forth, that time that you have, are you utilizing that time wisely to grow, to become prepared? So once again, when opportunity, right? Opportunity meets preparation equals success. And now you have an attitude of expectation. You're saying, you know what? Bring it. Bring the opportunity. I'm ready. When the opportunity comes, let's go. That's the kind of attitude that's going to get you greatness. That's the kind of attitude that's going to develop success. Speaking of developing, it brings me to today's declaration. So we did the quote of the week. Now we're going to do the declaration of the week. The declaration of the week is, I am an amazing leader and creator of leaders. I am an amazing leader and creator of leaders. Think about that real quick. I love this declaration. And the reason I love this declaration is if you really think about true leadership, like real leaders, true leaders don't develop or don't create followers. True leaders, they create more leaders. As John C. Maxwell says, leadership is influence. If you have influence over people, if you can influence someone to become better, if you can influence someone to develop into a leader, that's leadership. That's true leadership because you have influence on someone. See, before you are a leader, like before you get the title or you give yourself the title or you consider yourself a leader, it comes down to what I said earlier, growing yourself. You have to develop yourself if you want to be a leader. You want to have influence. In order to have influence, you have to have some kind of wisdom, knowledge, or some kind of authority on some kind of subject for people you have influence on. You know, like an influencer. Typically, an influencer has authority over a subject or a group of people. So before you become a leader, it's about growing yourself. And the beauty is once you become a leader, it's about growing others. And the most important thing, not just about growing others, but more importantly, developing more leaders and more leaders and more leaders. I'm going to give you bonus real quick. Bonus. People do what you do, not what you say. People do what you do, not what you say. That is the reason why it's more important what you do as a leader than what you say as a leader. You can say all you want as a leader. You can speak. You can do your speech. You can do your voice. You can speak to the crowd and tell them how you feel. Tell them what they should be doing. But what's more important is what you do as a leader. I'm gonna say that one more time. It's more important what you do as a leader than what you say as a leader. See, in this world, I don't know if you realize it or not. Me right now, just speaking to you, I want to encourage someone. I want to inspire someone to develop themselves as a leader in their community. Why? We need more role models. We need more examples of good leaders. We need more people for the kids to look up to. We need to build one another up. We need to share power. See, that's one of the things I've seen in leadership. Outside looking in or just looking at other leaders from afar, several leaders I know, and I'm not throwing shots at anyone, but I've seen people do this. And once again, it comes down to a true leader develops other leaders. And what I mean by share power is sometimes people believe that by you empowering someone, you helping someone develop as a leader to grow, to become stronger, that that is going to take away from you as a leader. That's going to somehow, some way, some shape or form, going to take away from your power as a leader. What we have to realize is by empowering one another, we all can grow. It's about collaboration, not competition. There's enough for all. This is all about abundance, not scarcity. Duplication is key when it comes to leadership. Leadership is about making other people better with your time, with your wisdom, with your example. Once again, it's more important what you do than what you say. So how are you leading as an example? What are you doing with your time? Are you sharing your wisdom? Are you putting people on? When you see someone struggling, are you lending a hand? Hey, you know what? You could do it better this way. I'll give you a simple example, and this is a real simple example. I was at church this past Sunday, and they had an issue with the TV screens being connected to the HDMI cord. Because of my experience in tech and doing live events, as soon as the pastor said that, it clicked for me. I was like, I know what's wrong. I just had a feeling I knew it was wrong. After service was done, I went and I said, hey, do you mind if I look at the HDMI cords? What I realized was the same challenge that happened to me several months back at an event where the HDMI cords weren't working. It was the same exact challenge they had that day. It was a one-way HDMI cord. It wasn't a two-way cord. It was a one-way cord. So they had the display connected to the source and the source connected to the display. All they had to do was switch the cord around. That was it. But what was I there to do? I was there to share my wisdom, share my time, share my example, share my experience so that the next person could do it better. Now, next Sunday at church service, if there's any kind of issues or challenges with the monitor, now we know where to look. You see what I'm talking about? It's developing others to do better. And not even that. Here's the crazy part. If you really want to understand true leadership and legacy, like really leaving a legacy, it's about making others better with your presence now, like your presence right now. So that if it's done right, the impact will last in your absence. So when you're no longer around, that impact, that legacy, that lesson that what you did as an example outlasts that. That's pretty cool. Speaking of Jesus one more time, he talked about mentorship when he was talking to the disciples. He told them, he said, the works that I do, you will also do. Greater works than these. See, he was already telling them that they were going to do more than him. He said, look, what I did, you could do it. And you know what? You could do more. He wasn't worried that they were going to do bigger and grand and bigger things than him, make a bigger impact than him as a whole. He wasn't worried about that. Why? Because he knew his legacy. He was making those around him better. So I'm going to leave you with the declaration one more time. I am an amazing leader and creator of leaders. I want you to really grab that declaration. And if you don't understand why we do declarations, I'll tell you one more time. I've been saying this week after week. We do declarations in present tense to speak to the subconscious mind. I don't know if you know this, but you have two minds. You have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is where the magic happens. If you can speak to that mind and speak to it in present tense and have it believe what you're saying is true, it's going to act accordingly. Many of the goals, the dreams, the things that we want in life that we haven't achieved is due to the programming that we have in our mind. People always joke around or say things like, oh my God, you're brainwashed. Many of you, including myself, we need to be brainwashed because we have so much junk in our mind. We need to take it out to put the right programming in, the right concept, the right ideas, the right mindset. And that right there, that declaration, I am a leader. I am an amazing leader and creator of leaders. When you speak that upon yourself, embrace it. But don't just embrace it. Don't just say it. Remember what I said earlier. It's more important what you do as a leader than what you say as a leader. So don't just say this declaration, but go do something about it. Go become that better leader so you can do more for your community and the people that follow you so you can have more leaders around you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate everyone on this webinar. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And by the way, once again, if you're wondering where we got the quote from or the declaration, it's inside the Maximize Your Life Planner. You can get that at maximizeyourlifeplanner.com. Once again, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate everyone. God bless. Take care. Let's go impact this world and let's go live life to the max. Peace out.